Hello? 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 Is anybody there? Hello? How are you? Isn't it interesting that the word hello has hell in it? You're like, man, that doesn't mean anything. I just thought of that. Was that intentionally created that way? Hell. Oh. Can we really thank Thomas Edison for making that word become popular? Thomas Edison's like, I want to put hell in a word. Hello, right? But Alexander Graham Bell preferred to say, ahoy. That word reminds me of a fat guy with a beard on a black and white ship, pointing to fucking waving to guys on the shore. Ahoy. I don't know why. Why does it do it like that? Why do I think that way? But hello, the word hello may have been a derivative of ahoy. The word hello could have been a result of the evolution of colloquial terms all mashed together and slurred into what we have now. Slurred into what we have now. We teach our children to politely say hello to greet someone. Little kids don't often get their elders and grandparents greet their elders and grandparents by coming in and saying, "What up? How's it hanging, Grandma?" Then again, the word hello may have originally been some similar of that sort until it gained some popularity upon the cultural tongue, right? Whatever. I say hi. Hey, what's up, Grandma? You know, point the finger like the Fonzie. Real cool, right? Anyways, what the hell am I talking about? History. His story. Not her story. The word history derived from the word fucking historia. I think most of you probably figured that out already, but I think some of you did not. Some people. I hear them still say it. Then the word historia in Latin derived from the Greek word historia, which meant to inquire, right? You inquiring minds want to know. But how the fuck did these weirdos not know all this shit? Talking about how it's all written by winners who are supposed to be men, so they call it his story. But women are important too, they say, right? So in this day and age of segregation, black entertainment, MexicanDating.com, non-whites only allowed, so on and so forth. So these people want a her story to replace his story? Right? I don't know. But there's actually a ton of books already written titled Her Story. And I get it. Some women need to know that not only men accomplish things, right? It's pretty obvious, right, bitches? Just ask my kid's mom how much she got over me, right? Her story. My defeat. Her winning. Yeah, there's some terrible people in the world, but there's a lot of good. There's probably a lot more worse than good, right? It is what it is. Maybe if everyone in the world was called a saint, perhaps nobody would try hard because there wouldn't be much competition out there. Who knows, right? Probably not, but maybe, right? Everybody's super cool. They don't have to try. But there's remember there's that woman I talked about in a different episode, that woman named Alkahina that I talked about before. And she was the queen from the 7th century Africa. I think she died in the beginning of the 8th century. I don't remember the exact dates. And she was the queen in Africa who led battles and fought off the Muslims from conquering West Africa in the early days of Islam. It's very new. They might not have had sheets on the woman's head yet at the time, but maybe they did. Anyways, Al-Kahina died, and Now the religion is filled with people that follow those same things, conquest, right? Turning people on to that belief system, right? Wasn't for Alcahina and Diane, those people wouldn't have been there. If she would have survived and taught other people how to fight battles like she did. Like they called her Alcahina. Her name was originally Daya. She was a warrior queen. She knew some shit. And they called her Alcahina because she was so tactical and fucking badass. And the Muslims couldn't defeat her, so they called her a witch because they had no other way to describe it, right? There's a guy in the sky controlling everything. Everything happens for a reason, they say, you fucking bitch-ass motherfuckers. Anyways, so they thought she was a witch because she was so tactical, right? And eventually she died, and they took over the area. Now we got the third largest mosque in that fucking area now, and where she resided, where she had control at the time. Isn't that fucking crazy? I'm sure there's a couple churches there. I'm sure, right? But yeah, now Algeria holds the third largest mosque in the world. And that's part of the area where she controlled. In that region. Woohoo, right? Santa Claus, boogeyman, let's go to the mosque and make all my wives wear sheets on their heads so nobody tries to screw them, right? Great idea. What gets me is that the women that wear those sheets on their head proudly in America, it's fucking crazy. It's like a Chicago gangbanger finally getting released from prison, but keeping his hands tied together with handcuffs. It's like, dude, you're free now. Take that shit off. You don't need to wear that fucking shit on your head. And Kohl's and fucking Target, you don't need to sell that shit to people. They're selling handcuffs in the fucking front aisle. So before you walk out, there's a pair of handcuffs on the side. You're like, put these on. It's part of your culture. You're in jail all the time. Fuck that. Right? And the guy would be like, I feel naked if I don't have these things on. That's what I'll say. Feel naked without handcuffs on? What the fuck does that mean? Take that sheet off your head. Anyways, history evolved in what we have right now, today. We are all a product of what happened yesterday, whether you wear handcuffs or a sheet on your head. The crazy thing is that most of us won't be remembered after a few generations after us, right? I know a lot of you wish you were remembered, right? But it won't happen. It's the way it is. How often do I talk about my great-great-grandfather? Like fucking shit he did. Not very often. Not at all. But the important part is that you're part of a mechanism in time that populates the voices and bodies that drive the evolution of this fucking idea of culture we have, or the world, right? You're part of it whether you like it or not, right? You're part of these people, just like the people that came with Christopher Columbus in the early days. They were part of the people. Whether they were praying or kissing with their eyes open or not, right? But they're all part of that culture, the driving thing, right? Like, for example, you're hearing me right now, and you're understanding me because you learned a language that was passed on to you, and now you help others practice it, right? If you really want to be a fucking outrage and fucking go against, culture and people in the world, completely banish the language, right? And morals, right? Don't open the door for women. Don't speak any learned language. Create your own. If you're on your own so much, bitch, you won't. You just fucking color your hair green. Yeah, real smart. But anyways, this cultural aspect changes and evolves while you invite those possibilities into your breath and moments on this earth or not, right? in this universe it is all dust, air, darkness that collides and creates this fucking what we have and destroys at the same time. We're all part of that shit. Just like the BLM and other radical types that are like the asteroids smashing into us like craters in society while spreading the legs of white women and selling tight pants to the men. We're all there whether we like it or not. We play some part either in or against, right? But we do play a part in it. You hear the air conditioner in the background? Anyways. So yeah, and so did Al Kahina and Columbus and all them. They all played a part of their society and time that they were in, right? So did the horny, blood-thirsty Muslims and Christians that conquered most of the world and shed most blood, more than any other ideology that I know about in her story. I mean his story. I mean history. Yeah, you get it. You know what I'm saying. These are all really crazy things that you have to consider, right? Doesn't make it better that we have food delivery apps and computers on our cell phones than when societies were stricken together by fear and marching in step because they were trying to unite and have togetherness rather than a bunch of lonely, angry people trolling Twitter posts during in between moments at work, right? Is it better now or better then? Well, presentism, it's with presentism, it's hard to look at it that way because you won't know, right? A man will never know what it's like to be a woman unless he is a woman, and there's no way he'll be a woman. So just like you kind of like think of, put yourself in that place, but not exactly, right? And just like in history, you'll never know what it was like to live back then because you never lived back then. You could kind of understand it, but not really because it was a different time, right? Different situations, right? Like people like to give fucking pills for trauma and anxiety and shit like that. You would have had to take a different set of pills back then because it was a different type of anxiety and trauma that you don't know about, right? Anyways, we are more together now than we were then, right? I guess it depends on how you look at it. People that couldn't ever find a girl back, at some time can get one easily now in a dating app, I guess, right? He may have to lower his standards, but he can do it if he wants. It's not impossible unless he himself is impossible. Bitch ass motherfucker. Society seems impossible, doesn't it? Not just the lonely dudes or those bitches on the app, right? Those superficial bitches, right? It just seems impossible. Sometimes you may think like, why the fuck would you want to go outside with all these political wackos out there, right? Leftist girls turning you down because you voted for Trump or because you're white, right? She prefers black dudes, right? The guy with tight pants and the beer trying to make up excuses for these lame motherfuckers, right? You all know who they are. You know what I'm talking about. That bitch ass, right? He's like, well, maybe she likes it, right? You know what she likes. Did you all hear what they were trying to feed the children these days, right? Man, I'm so lucky I grew up with the Garbage Pail Kids and not transvestite Barbie. Would this transvestite Barbie be the good guy or the bad guy, right? Would we find it in the little girl's bathroom or out fighting crime? Who knows? I just read an article like a couple days ago. Like Mattel just released the first black Barbie that has Down syndrome for children. There's not a lot of documentation on American Indians having statues that represent handicapped people of their time and tribes. So it's just like basically an American thing, right? Or Western culture thing. I don't think Islam's got fucking retarded dolls. It's possible. We live in a fucking weird fucking place, man. I don't know what's worse. We're in a sheet on your head, or living in fucking Wackoville where they're trying to fucking feed you puberty blockers, right? But there was like some artwork of this guy named Chief Blackhawk that was physically handicapped from war battles. But none of his statues represent that, so he wasn't a fucking transvestite doll, right? He was part of the Sauk tribe he was a great leader and warrior. But they don't have statues of him wounded for the children or people to be able to relate the pain of being handicapped, right? Most pictures in historical monuments represent the bravery and competence of a person rather than that, right? What if people try to represent me, just take out one snippet of my life and create a doll, right? For other people to relate to, and it'd be a doll of me from the old days when I used to drink and with a DUI, right? What kind of doll would that be? Would throw up on her shirt, right? People would be like, I relate to this one, man. Thanks for making a drunken doll. Now I understand. What about those fucking zombie people that are in Los Angeles? You know, the people that take that crocodile drug or whatever the fuck drug it is. Like if you search the zombie drug in Los Angeles or in America, they're even here in Chicago area. You find them around. We saw some fucking broad like a block away. She was doing the fucking robot dance, but she wasn't really dancing. She was just like fucked up. And she was searching for cigarette butts. And I crawled her over to my car, had a little conversation with her. She was fucking scary, man. Then she walked back and she started hitting a cigarette butt thing on the ground. Yeah, there's some weird people. But that's somebody's mother, sister, or daughter, right? Or auntie, or old boss, or co-worker, or something like that. She had a life before fucking drugs, right? And maybe at the same time as drugs, right? And so somebody needs to relate to her, right? So they should make a doll of that fucking zombie bitch on fucking high on heroin or something, right? Crackhead Barbie doll, right? So somebody can relate. Gotta include everybody these days, right? Mom's a crackhead. So is Barbie. What's mom doing in the back of the car there? Before the left wing people got crazy and weird, it would be funny to see someone like Barbie doll that represents this incompetent pothead Barbie doll that burns American flags and weighs 300 pounds and green hair, right? It would be funny. It would be like, man, what kind of Barbie is that? Oh, it's a leftist Barbie doll that's overweight. But what do they call it? What's the fucking term for it now? Being fat is beautiful. What was the fucking term, right? Yeah. Fucking crazy times we live in, right? Would you rather be living in a cave hunting for meat and berries, or living in a time where you got wackos trying to share the bathroom with you? I don't know. But I haven't heard much of people fighting for bathrooms lately. I don't know if I haven't run into gender neutral bathrooms just when he thought every single bathroom was going to start turning into a gender neutral, right? It stopped, I think, that I know about, right? They're trying to force themselves upon you and your culture and your ideas and your everyday life, right? And what's normal. Everyone's always pointing a finger at the other person, calling them bad, right? No, it's him. No, it's you. No, it's him. No, it's you. All right? Whoever's in the wrong, it's all in perspective, isn't it, bitches? But as far as these transvestites go, if we want all humans to continue, we need to have men have sex with women to make babies, right? Or a transvestite woman to have sex with a transvestite man to make babies. That works too, right? Does that happen? I don't know. Does that happen at all? I mean, it could, right? They would just change roles, right? The dad gets pregnant while the mom goes out hunting and gets drunk with friends in the garage while dad cleans the house and complains about random things. Bitch ass. Right? But if we're overpopulated, some people would want to depopulate. But even then, how would they get to the point where they say we're at a good number, right? There's enough people that died and stopped having babies, right? Who would make that decision? We're all good now, people. Women, you could stop taking birth control pills because we control the population numbers and we are good now. So guys, you could take those dresses off and stop feeding the kids puberty blocker pills because we're all good now with population control. Right? I think some people actually believe that there's people that are trying to make that happen for real. It's possible, but who knows, right? Either way, it's my idea against yours, right? That's what's going on now, here, there, and everywhere, right? And in many aspects across the world throughout history, that's the same fucking shit, right? Some ideologies get millions of people killed. Other ideologies get women to walk around with sheets on their head and pray to statues. So be it. Everyone always knows better, right? Lots of people respect your decision until they don't anymore, right? There's always a line to be drawn. A ceiling, right? Don't hit that ceiling. Does T-Mobile still have that stupid ceiling on the data? A lot of people don't know that shit, but there's a ceiling. Remember when those cunts always allowed so many megabytes or gigabytes until they dropped your speed? Those bitches. I pay you. Give me what I need, motherfucker. Anyways, let's get on with this shit, right? Christopher Columbus had 3 brothers. Bartolome, Giovanni Pellegrino, that we know little about this guy, and Giacomo, who was also called Diego. And Diego became the governor of Hispaniola. Diego Colon. Or no, Diego Colon was the son of Christopher Columbus. And he became governor of Hispaniola between the years 1509 to 1518. Then the brother of Columbus, named Diego, his name was also Diego, was governor of Hispaniola in the end of 1494 through 1495. He wasn't actually a governor, but he held a position such as one during the time that Christopher Columbus went to Cuba and Jamaica in the end of 1494 into 1495. This is when the things got way out of hand for whatever exact reason. Unless it was like a conglomerate of reasons that all hit at one time and sparked the chaos, right? Columbus came back and was like, what the fuck did you guys do? Nicolas de Ovando was the first royal governor of the New World. He was one of the first persons to introduce the encomienda system of Indian forced labor. See how I said persons? I like the word peoples instead. Making everything plural, even if it doesn't have to be, right? I saw a YouTube video earlier today that made a joke about us Chicagoans, saying that we make everything plural. Like, what were some of the examples? Soldiers Field, right? I don't know. I mean, I guess they're right. I don't know. Are they? That was one of the jokes. But anyways, that the guy was making. One person plus another person equals 2 people. And not Mexican peoples or the peoples of America. They describe it like this, some people, right? Some historians and fucking writers. The plural peoples word the S at the end signifies that people of America or Asia or Mexico or whatever, that they are different ethnicities. So they put an S at the end of the word people to say that all the specified people of whatever context or whatever area, that they are all from various places or regions or ethnicities or some shit like that. So in this case, if you had 10 people in a room and you were telling a person about them, would that person ask you to specify whether there are people or peoples in the room so they know if they are all from the same place or not? Like, for example, if you had 3 Mexicans, 3 Irish, and 3 black guys and 1 transvestite in the room, would they be considered peoples? They are the people in the room. They are living in America, people of America. And if they were all black, they would just be called people with an S. How lame. Bitches. And I know you people seen it before. Maybe some of you don't read. I don't know. Right? You probably seen it. Anywho. Anywhere. Anyhow. Way. Bitches. I woke on the wrong side of the fucking floor mat today. I was out roaming Chicago downtown again, doing street photography with my neighbor, right? And then the post-processing raw images of these on my computer keeps me to stay up late and get it done every fucking time. So fucking spend hours doing that shit. I feel like I owe it to the random people that I'll never see again, that I barely know, that for at least that brief moment, whatever, it makes me feel like, hey, I got to get their picture done too, right? And when you do a little bit, you got to do a little bit more, you know? Fucking post-processing. Now they got cell phones where you just hit the button and it does all the processing for you. The computer does it, and a little bit with AI. Oh, look at how nice it looks. Yeah, but it's AI doing a lot of that shit. AI is kind of just taking over. In a few years, I won't even need my Canon anymore. I'm guessing, right? In a few years, the fucking phones will be better than anything, right? Can you imagine fucking people on the side of a football field with cell phones taking videos of people for TV instead of those fucking cameras, right? Wouldn't it be hilarious? Just a bunch of people running around with cell phones. It's possible. It might happen. It's likely. I don't know. But cell phones don't have the fucking the sensor size, right? That's like full frame cameras get the most light, so it has the best color and definition and depth of field and so on and so forth. And then there's an APS-C, there's 4/3, and then there's the fucking cell phone, which has like very small sensor, so it doesn't bring in the light. So the picture's actually fucking shit that you get on your cell phone, but AI fucking generates that shit. And AI comes in later and says, okay, we'll fix up your pictures to make it look better than anything else. So that's how they get away with it. And is that bad? I guess not. It's not real. I don't know. But then again, you know, after I do post-processing, I could get rid of fucking scars and whatever the fuck else in my picture. So that's not real anymore either, right? I don't know. Where do you draw the line? But anyways, yeah, that shit keeps me up. Takes a lot of my time besides my regular daytime job. So fucking exhausted. Anyways, let's get back to the history of people pushing their ideas on someone else, right? Fucking Christopher Columbus came back to fucking bunch of bullshit when he came back from Jamaica and Cuba and all them places when he came back, and then that war happened, that battle. And the snowball fucking tumbled like down, just got bigger, right? Snowballed and got bigger, more problems, just picking up more. More Indian life was taken either by disease or at the control of some worser Europeans, right? It's hard to consider that those types of sicknesses that took all those lives, but we saw how COVID ran through people, leading to many deaths, right? Although COVID killed mostly fat or unhealthy people, mostly, usually leaving healthy and young people to live and to tell the story of it. But what if the Indians would have quarantined back then? If they would have known better, right? Would the conservatives still say after some months go by that it wasn't that bad of a thing. The disease was okay because the lives had been saved. But were they? If you leave leftover pizza in the fucking fridge, would it be eaten? Probably the fuck not, would it? Not in the fridge. Unless you got animals in the fridge. Someone may sneak a piece or two and die. But if the rest of the pizza stays in the fridge, do you have to do a daily count? Is someone going to make up these numbers and give fines for it? For going outside? People were flogged in Asia for some of that shit. Fucking cultures are fucking weird, man. Remember that shit? Like Asia, they had like public shaming and shit like that, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So, yeah, humans evolved to take on diseases and shit a lot differently. So now we're able to travel the world and take vaccines and know what to do if we get sick, right? Back in the old days they weren't so lucky. All right? There was a more recent outbreak called the Four Corners outbreak. It's called the hantavirus disease that came to the area of the United States where it infected several Indian tribes, at least, in the year 1993. That's when Soundgarden, Nirvana, and all them fucking people, Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, were doing great. Still around. Those CDs are still in the player. Guys aren't around, but the music is. Very little bit, right? Most people are doing rap music now for some odd reason. Anyways, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona, where some of the Navajo people, Zuni, Uti, and Hopi tribes lived. That sickness was, in 1993, was initially referred to as the Navajo flu. Bitches. Right? It was transmitted by rats, or by rat droppings, right? Rat shit. They were walking over rat shit. I guess, right? That's what they say. They say the sickness isn't transmitted from person to person, but rather from a person touching rat shit or rat saliva or something of the sort. It was like this article. I looked this up a couple of days ago. I saw it like randomly. I was like, what the fuck is this? There was a Metro article that said that 80% of the Navajo tribe near the Arizona-New Mexico border had died at the time, in the fucking early 90s. And whether those numbers were embellished or not, it was a sickness that quickly spread in a short amount of time and killed people. Although only some 800 cases had been reported in the last 25 years, according to the National Library of Medicine, up until the year 2018. But in 2024, there had been 7 cases of the disease in Arizona from January to July of 2024. So yeah, still around. This shit's still around. Diseases happen, and they sometimes kill people. And 500 years ago, they had less control over things like that than they do now. But back in the old days, 500 years ago, along with other times in history, people blamed sicknesses on the disasters of the gods, right? And people still talk like that these days. They're like, it was meant to happen, right? Like certain things they'll say that, it was fate, right? Like everything's planned or some fucking bullshit like that. But yeah, they believed in shit like that back then. Some people still do to this day. They believe in fucking, like, things are meant to happen the way they do. Some fucking shit like that, right? But like back then, you could even pull up quotes from Bartolome de las Casas, right? After Columbus was around. De Casa says, the pretext of these butchers was that they wanted to bring them closer to the knowledge of God and to the true faith, and that they adored idols, and thus they punished them with death and by tormenting them horribly, and they killed them all with the excuse of idolatries. Isn't that fucking crazy? But it's true. People use religion. Muslims still do it to this day. There was an article I read maybe 3 years ago. I don't remember exactly. There was some fucking dude that drew a picture of Muhammad, or Allah or whatever, a cartoon. And he got in trouble for it. And he had to go to court for it. And on his way to court, they fucking killed him in front of the courthouse. Like, bitches. Yeah. People are fucking weird. They do weird shit still to this day. And they did it back then too. And they used religion as an excuse, right? Sheets on the head, handcuffed, whatever. Religion, ideologies as an excuse. Whether it's political or religious, right? My team against your team. My way's the right way, so you follow me. Otherwise, you're my enemy. That's what they think, right? But yeah, there I just gave you a quote from fucking Bartolome de las Casas, talking about mentioning why they killed because of religion. And I think that zealous attribute fucking came from, like, I'm assuming, came from religious wars in Europe, and prior to that time, in the early 1400s, 1300s, and so on, back, right, when the Muslims were trying to take over lands, and so people had to be zealous and fight back, right? My team against your team, right? I just found out my Polish friend's 60% Arabic. He didn't know it. He just found that out too. That's because Islam, I think the Ottomans came in and took over what was Poland at the time. Well, it wasn't even Poland. It was a Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth in history. And I don't think Poland became, don't quote me, it didn't become Poland until like the early 1900s. But I think it was a Commonwealth prior to that, to where like Poland and Lithuania even fought Russia back in the day and won, right? But sometimes, right? Some instances, right? But yeah, the Arabs were coming in. The Ottomans were coming in, which were a lot of, white people or lighter skin. And they brought the Asian and black Muslims with them. And then they fucked the women, because you know what they do with the women when they conquered the area? All conquerors take the women, fuck the women, and kill the men, or make them slaves, right? Just what happens in history throughout the whole world, right? And every continent is what happens. But most of the initial battles between the Europeans with the Taino or the natives of the area were caused by random confrontations, right? Cropping of the ears was a typical punishment. Hanging or being burnt alive was another punishment. The burning alive could be traced back to where the growth of zealous evil people were partaking in the Inquisition, right? That's where they might have gotten those ideas. And then they brought it to fucking America with them, those motherfuckers. Then Islamic areas castrated people for punishments, right? People suck, don't they? What about catch and release, right? Like a fish in a stream. I never got that sport. How the fuck do guys sit there for hours watching their fishing pole or their bobber or whatever fuck they do, waiting for hours to catch a fish so they could throw it, so they could take a stupid picture of this fish and throw the fish back into the fucking water. Fucking weird, right? That's like me taking a picture of a deer in the woods and posting it on Instagram. The description, it says, "Look what I caught, but I let it back into the woods. Just wanted to take a picture of it. Measures 5 feet." Well, they didn't really catch and release people. I mean, I guess they did. I mean, they cut the one guy's ear off, and then they let him go, right? I don't know. It's not this very specific with those instances. But Europeans wrote about how some of the region of the Tainos used to catch fish by using a sucker fish tied to a string. Craziness. Who says which way is right or wrong? So anyways, basically the Europeans were thinking that all the Tainos would be better off being Christian. And a lot of times when they got the upper hand, they could take advantage of people underneath them, right? Everyone is always trying to push themselves on you. Well, at first you think they're on your side until they start sleeping with your friends, or yet again, your friends try to get private time with your sister, right? Where does all the tax money go, and why do car salesmen talk so fast? The world is filled with constant bitches, scammers, and motherfuckers, right? People are always trying to get what they think they deserve from you. Just bitches. Not everyone is like that, of course. Not all Europeans were slave owners. And there were some other people that were slave owners too, a lot of Arabs and Africans, right? But not all of them were slave owners, not all of them were killers. Just like the radical left doesn't attack, not every radical leftist attacks police or destroys and loots businesses. Some people are just more civilized than others, but they're part of the same group. It's like you point your finger at all of them, right? When they came through Chicago and fucking destroyed fucking neighborhoods and villages, when they came through Chicago and destroyed fucking businesses that I had to go board up some of those fucking places, the people would fucking scream at me in the street with the cops being there, and they couldn't say nothing because they were all part of a fucking tribe to attack us, right? But you can't say everyone that fucking voted Democrat is part of them people. Can you? You can't. Because some of them are more civilized than others. But not everyone is a prick, right? Some are more civilized. But then again, not everyone is your friend. If you can define friend, right? I'm friends with the Mormon guy at the gas station. He likes my music. He called one of my songs upbeat and dark, right? Dark, upbeat music. That's what he called it. Is he really my friend? How do you define friend? Anyways, when Columbus came back from his trips from Jamaica and Cuba and various islands at one time when he got sick, and then he'd come back and get his health back, and by the time he came back and returned to Hispaniola, he found that their area was in a mess. And then that battle happened. Remember the last episode? We talked about it. Then everything went to hell, right? That's all in perspective, though, isn't it? But anyways, the hell may have started when Christopher Columbus left his brother and others in charge, right? Or his son. No, his brother. I haven't found too many specifics on those happenings, but we're still searching, right? But it had been described that the island had become more peaceful at the time, and Christopher Columbus had not drawn his sword not one time since the battle took place in 1495, for a year after that. I guess he wasn't cropping off ears or hands at the time. But don't think it ends there. The times get worse as the subjugation becomes more prevalent, right, in the area. More people arrive and take advantage of the system that evolved in some dark times, mostly starting from the mentioned time in 1495. And as peace ensued, the Christians pushed on with their hunt for riches, cultural insight, and their way of trying to push their idea onto everyone else. Yeah, so that battle happened and things started to change there, but not for the better. Or for some people for the better and other people for the worse, right? It always works out that way. Always someone always gets the shaft. Right? In every situation, right? When if somebody votes for Biden and Biden gets elected, everybody else gets the shaft, right? All the migrants get the good end, and then the citizens, especially the poor citizens, a lot of black communities, get the shaft. They're like, why are you giving all your money to those people who aren't American when you could be giving it to us? And we're like, well, thanks for voting for us, you bitches, right? And then the other way around. So if somebody votes for Trump and Trump gets elected, then all the migrants get the shaft because they're like, man, how come we're not getting all the free shit, right? How come they're not giving free transvestite fucking sex changes at schools anymore? Or the military, right? They get the shaft until somebody else gets elected. They'll bring it back. Right? I don't know. But, you know, the fucking leftists are fucking crazy, man. The Christians were trying to push their religion and on everybody else, right? And they're pushed their way on everybody else. They're like, we live here now with you, and now you become our guest, right? Becoming a guest in your own home, right? I'm sure these fucking Christians tried pushing Jesus onto all the children as well. But I'd rather have someone try to push Jesus on my kid rather than puberty blockers. That's all in perspective, though. Maybe you would think different. Maybe you'd rather have your son turn into a daughter rather than your son turn from atheist to Christian or Muslim or whatever, right? Anyways, but I don't know. It's all in perspective. And back then, a lot of the Christians were pricks, right? Kind of baffling, but kind of like... Have you ever met like a Mexican gangbanger with a cross on his neck? Like a gold cross or silver cross, whatever. And that same guy isn't afraid to shoot at someone who crosses the line, right? Or black guy or Mexican or white guy, whatever. Everyone has met someone who is religious and has these crosses on them and Jesus shit. But they go against those religious laws, right? Muslims rape and kill people too, right? It's what people do. They don't get a pass for being omnipresent with the fucking sinning, right? But it's of human nature, and government laws, religious commandments, and parental guidance can't stop assholes and dissenters from doing their fucking bullshit. It's human nature. Right? It's not just human nature, it's fucking life, right? Fucking animals do it too. Like, do you ever see that stupid movie where Leonardo DiCaprio was attacked by the fucking bear and the fucking bear kept changing its mind until DiCaprio killed it? It's fucking so stupid. I never watched TV, and I turned on the hotel TV to see part of that movie, and I quickly turned that bitch off. Like, does that really fucking happen? I was going to kill you, but I changed my mind. Oh, now you're going to kill me. Yeah, that doesn't happen, right? Maybe some little instances here and there. Anyways, Europeans saw the exploitation and others took advantage of it. And some people take it to another level of extremity, and that's really uncalled for. Because you're all bitches, right? Like if a slut takes one dick in her mouth, she's probably going to take a lot more, right? And those cheating motherfucking dudes that cheat on their wives and girlfriends, they won't stop there. Maybe today they will, or tomorrow. But the next day, they'll probably be back to what they do, right? That's what these motherfuckers do. And they'll say hello to Jesus to it from time to time. Or Islam, or fucking Muhammad, or who do they pray to? Allah, right? They'll go pray to Allah, then go out and fucking blow somebody up and fuck a couple white women. And they'll be into it too. You're like, oh yeah, diversity, right? So the Europeans subjugated the people and that evolved slowly into controlling all of the islands of Hispaniola, all the islands in the area. Ramon Panay was still there taking notes. People found more gold in the area. There was a lot of writing right after that battle. That there wasn't darkness. The Europeans were able to get around the island a lot easier after that battle. in 1495. Like they found control, and then they started looking into learning about the Indian culture, religion, and fucking shit like that. And they were trying. They found more gold. They're like, man, we found more mines and shit. And then now they were fucking putting quotas on people and punishing people. This is fucking when the time started getting dark, 1495. We're going to get into more memoirs and shit like that very soon here. So we could step into these specifics, right? Times got better for these guys, but times got worse for the other guys, right? It's the way it works, right? Keep that bearded dude out of the bathroom with my daughter. That's what they say, right? They say, but if they would have just believed in Jesus, everything would have been all right. You know, I wonder what happened to the Indians that got drunk with Christopher Columbus. I wonder if they were the people that, or if they knew people, or they were friends with people that got the shaft from Europeans too. Or did it happen generations after to those particular people? I don't know. There's lots of memoirs and books, and so we have a lot to cover, and we will. Until I get banned from one site or another. I won't stop here or there. I'll be here. You can hate me for it. I dare you. Do it. Try it. I bet you like it. Don't subscribe or comment. Just quietly leave, and like a leftist, you try to rationalize it with, just be quiet, speechless, and just walk out. Smack me in the face and just go away, right? Anyway, I'm getting tired. I got a lot of driving ahead of me. Stay tuned for another episode. I'm going to end this here. I'm out of here. I'm out of here, motherfucker. That's it. Have a good day, or night, or morning. Or not. Adios.